This is the first of a series of videos that I'm going to create to explain how to use the various different functions, uh, gain skills and knowledge in using Autodesk Fusion 360. The good thing about Fusion 360, there's two different versions of it. So there's the desktop version, which is installed onto the computer, and then the second one, which is a browser version. So if you have a computer, you don't have any storage space to install the software, you can go onto their website and run Fusion online. It pretty much works just the same. There's only a little bit of a lag, and it also depends on the internet connection. But anyway, so in this first video, going to kind of quickly go over the workspace that you're going to use for Fusion, some of the different ideas and layouts of the user interface to understand how this program works. So in the top left corner, we have our basic file operations. Here you can start a new project, add an existing project to another one, open up a file, upload. This is basically if you downloaded a file from some other source, somebody shared it with you, you would add this into your cloud library. Save, save as to add a copy, save as latest, which will be, same as the newest version of your project. Export, if you want to export it to different file formats. 3D printing, to set it to get ready to send it to a 3D printer. Capture image will be kind of like a screenshot, and then you have some other different options. You have to the right of that, your floppy disk icon. That's your uh, save function. So you can do is Control S, File Save, or click on this button to save your project. Depending on which version of Fusion 360 that you have, it may ask you to kind of give a note or a title for the milestone of your project. So this would be like version 1, version 2, and so on. From there, you have your undo and your redo commands. Universal shortcut key for that is going to be Control Z for undo to go back a step, and then redo is going to be Control Y. The home icon takes you back to your home page, so that way you can look at your projects that you have saved onto your cloud, or if you're on a desktop version, what files are on your computer in your saved file location. Okay, go back to my tab. Then from there you have this data panel, these 9 dots, and that allows you to look at, your what is called your hubs. And basically somebody will create a hub and then it allows you to share it with you. So then that way you can kind of collaborate with other people, groups or teams. From there, it breaks it down into different categories. You have your recent projects, the different folders to organize your stuff. Assets would be like if you want to have models that can carry over into different projects. Libraries would be for shared assets, and then samples, so you can kind of learn the different functions of Fusion at your own pace. So let me close out of that. Here you have what is called your ribbon. This is pretty much where most of the work will be done in Fusion. Uh, you have several different categories, so depending on what you're trying to do, that will change, select and make active depending on the context of what you're doing. Okay. There will also be some that pop up and disappear, letting you know that you can use those or not use those. To the left of that, you have where it says design. This is your workspace button. So it'll allow you to switch to different workspaces. So it allows you to create your 3D models, generate designs to incorporate algorithms, geometry, based off of certain factors to create a very uh, efficient organic design that would save a lot of time instead of trying to figure out, how can you reduce weight, reduce mass, and things like that for your materials. Rendering will be when your project is completed. You can use this to make photorealistic depictions of your models. Okay. Animations, you can use those to kind of demonstrate how all your components are fit together. So kind of like it's being put together or exploded to kind of show you what they would look like separated. You can also use animation to uh, demonstrate how your mechanisms or your assemblies will work. So like for example, if you're doing a gear train, which is a collection of different gears, you can show that by rotating one gear, it'll rotate all the others that are in that train in the correct direction as well as the correct magnitude or speed of rotation. Simulations, that's where you get really, really technical in engineering. So you could do all kinds of different analysis. You could do wind, stress, strain, kind of demonstrate to understand how your product will perform under several different environments. Manufacturing will be once your model is completed, how would you get it ready to be produced? So using several default libraries for CNC machines, laser cutters, and even 3D printers, you can kind of figure out the steps and procedures to recreate or reproduce this part. So once you have the model, how can you turn it into a physical object? It also should have what is called the post-processing, which means that once you create the procedures, you do all the settings and options and things like that, it will then generate the appropriate G code. So that way you can then send it to the machine and where you would set it up and then run to create your part. The drawings, that is where we'll be spending our second most amount of time on, and that's creating blueprint drawings of your models to kind of demonstrate so that if you were to send this to an actual engineer or machinist, ask them to make the part, the blueprint would have all the necessary information for them to have. Then there is the electronics aspect. I haven't played around with that too much, but the idea will be you create simple circuit boards, which could then be sent to be manufactured, or make your own custom PCB boards using various different equipment. Down at the bottom, you have what is called your timeline. One of the most useful features about Fusion 360. As you work on your project, you will see this start to populate based off of whatever you're doing, whether you're doing a sketch, an extrusion such as pull, push pull, revolve, sweeps, lofts, shells, fillets, rounded, anything you do, it will be listed on there. So what's nice about that, if you're working on your project and later on you see that something is off, you can always go back to the step where that mistake happened, correct it, and then when you go back to your presence in the timeline, it'll update that and then fix that mistake. So very, very useful if you go back and forth a lot in your projects. On the right hand side in our workspace, you have what is called your view cube. This kind of lets you know how things are oriented, what direction your part is facing, and then you can also use the little house key to reset your camera if you ever get lost. So that's going to be the intro. The next couple of videos is covering exercise one, in which we create 2D sketches based off of a model that consists of several different parts.